Laker fans, welcome to another preview video. We're going to get to the Milwaukee part of this here in a minute, but first take a look back at that ugly loss to the Brooklyn Nets. Some key takeaways, I think, were the Lakers really got to change in the next couple games if they want to keep this record sustainable with LeBron James out, Rui out, and Jackson Hayes out. Is just the lack of size is killing the Lakers, number one, and there's nothing they can really do about that until Jackson Hayes and Rui and LeBron all come back. I think you've seen that in the games where the other teams have gone on streaks. The Lakers were up 15 against Brooklyn and Boston. They let that game completely slip away in the third quarter. It got up to a 20-point lead to the Celtics. And credit to the Lakers for coming all the way back. But there's been no easy lob threat. With Jackson Hayes out of the lineup with his right knee contusion, the Lakers have not been able to find a quick, easy bucket on the road where the shots aren't falling. It's a Luka lob to Hayes or a LeBron lob to Hayes. Obviously, I know LeBron's hurt right now. But they haven't really had that, and I think it's really hurt, and they've really been relying on shooting and the three ball going in, and that's very streaky, as we all know. They've looked excellent at times, and sometimes they can't buy a bucket. And I think we saw that on Monday night against the Nets. Really ugly loss. Loved what JJ Redick said post-game. I mean, JJ Redick was having none of it, wasn't hearing any excuses about a lot of injuries. I mean, he just flat out said, how do you expect to win a basketball game like that? There's a lack of effort. The way they played didn't look like they were interested in it, and really pointed out the fact that watching the game, I don't know about everyone else, I love that JJ Redick called it out. They were having trouble getting the ball to the half-court line. They were literally entering it in the half-court, and they were getting doubled. They were running Luka off the ball, doubling him. Reeves and him were having trouble simply setting up the offense, and they weren't even getting into their action, their plays. So about 8, 9, 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. That's a tough way to run your offense. I don't know what they were doing there. The fact that they actually hit some pretty tough shots at the end of that game to keep it even somewhat close, with Luka hitting the three, and a couple other big shots, but really ugly loss. They got to figure this out with LeBron out, because what they're doing is blitzing Luka and making other guys hit shots, and other guys just aren't hitting shots. Luka shooting 30%, not going to cut it in that game. Austin Reeves shooting 21%, had a really tough time coming back from injury. That's not going to cut it as well. Gabe Vincent was really the only guy I think that had a good night with 24 points. And Alex Len, I don't know what's going on there, but he doesn't really look like he understands what's going on right now. Can't really be getting that many minutes. But the Lakers are forced to play big because they literally have no size on the roster, and other teams' bigs will eat them up. So looking forward, flushing that loss in the past, looking to this Milwaukee game. Milwaukee's a tough team to figure out because you look on paper, they have one of the best duos in the entire NBA in Dame and Giannis. And it shows on the stat sheet. I mean, Giannis averages 31 points per game, 12 rebounds. Dame averages about 25 points per game and 7 assists per game. They're excellent. I think where this team drops off is the depth. Kuzma is the next leading scorer. They acquired him in a deadline deal with the Wizards. He averages around 14 points per game. And then the starting lineup that's rounded out is Taurean Prince, former Laker, Brook Lopez, who averages about 13 points a game, former Laker. So him, Kuzma, and Prince, a lot of former Lakers in this game. And then on the bench, it's really a youth movement. They play 4 guys: Gary Trent Jr., 26 years old, out of Duke; Kevin Porter Jr. came over from the Clippers, previously with the Rockets, really young player out of USC, 23 years old; Jericho Sims, a nice young player out of Texas, 26 years old. He backs up Lopez at the center spot. And then AJ Green's a nice young guard out of Northern Iowa at 25 years old. So they've kind of overhauled this team. Kudos to the Milwaukee Bucks front office, because that was kind of a problem with this team, is they felt like they were kind of getting old. They were kind of out of their window, and not in the sense that Giannis is still playing at an elite level, but the Chris Middleton experience, he was sent to the deal in Washington with Kuzma, and it just older on the 33-year-old side, really injury prone, and felt like that kind of roster had run its course after winning the NBA title a few years ago. Looking at them recently, they're on a 3-game losing streak. Their last game was a brutal loss to the Indiana Pacers. They were actually up 3 with 3.9 seconds to go. They were in the double bonus, so their idea was to foul whoever got it and just kind of play the free throw game until the timer expired. And Halliburton actually got the ball, got off a corner 3, makes it. They end up reviewing it. Giannis ends up fouling him. So not only they tie the game at 114 apiece, then they give Halliburton a free throw. He hits the free throw, and then Giannis tries to go for a three-pointer to win it. It actually rattles in and out, or front rim. It was right there, and they lose. They've been on a 3-game losing streak, lost to some of the upper-tier teams in the East. They've lost to the Orlando Magic, the Cleveland Cavaliers, but Damian Lillard did not play in that game. And then the Indiana Pacers. So again, tough team to figure out. Fourth spot in the East. You look at this team in the Eastern Conference as a team that could give anybody problems. I don't necessarily know if I'm the Cavs or the Celtics. I want to see Damian Giannis because they can go off at any time. But again, the depth I think is lacking there. I like the move of acquiring a Kyle Kuzma. I think he's, former Laker, really good player, was kind of wasting away down there on the Wizards. Adds them another scoring threat, the kind of third threat. I think he's better than Chris Middleton at this stage in his career, at this stage in Chris Middleton's career. But we'll see. They sit in the fourth spot in the East. And then looking at the injury report for this game. So on the Lakers side of things, more concern. Jackson Hayes out with the right knee contusion. Rui is out with the left patellar injury. And then Maxi Kleber is out as well. Luka is questionable with right ankle soreness. He hurt his ankle in that game against Brooklyn, but he did continue. So I expect him to be playing, even though he's questionable on the report. One positive news, the Lakers are going to get Dorian Finney-Smith back. That's big because especially with the lack of size, I think you're going to need to throw multiple defenders at these guys. They got Dame, can go off whenever. Giannis is going to be a serious problem because the Lakers really don't have a player to guard him right now. Dorian Finney-Smith and Vando got to probably have the games of their life for the Lakers to win this one. They really gotta lock it down offensively, and so it's nice that they are getting him back. On the Bucks side of things, they're missing Bobby Portis Jr., who's out. He's in the middle of a 25-game suspension for violating the league's anti-drug policy. So that's a big loss for them. Bobby Portis is actually, I mentioned this in other preview videos, he's one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA. He's kind of a throwback 90s NBA player, really brings tons of energy off the bench, rebounds the ball as a forward excellently, and then hangs around that 12, 13, 14-point range and really adds some nice juice off the bench. And they kind of moved him in the starting lineup at times. Him and Kuzma kind of share that. So interesting there. Tyler Smith is doubtful with a back injury. He doesn't play a whole ton, though. And Christian Livingston is also questionable with an illness. But again, not major players. Giannis is probable with a calf injury. And Dame is probable with groin soreness. So expect them both to go. Listen, the Lakers gotta find a way to just stay even with LeBron out for this road trip. We did get an update per Shams. So LeBron is actually back in LA. He will not be with the team for the rest of the road trip, which is just this game and the Denver game on Friday. He's recovering well, but we don't know when he'll be back. Hopefully in the next, they said a week or two when it happened, and that was on Saturday. So maybe by best case scenario, by next weekend, probably going to be a little bit longer. I know Rich Paul was on Pat McAfee and kind of discussed how he's not putting a timetable on it, but LeBron seems to think it's not a huge deal. So, but unfortunately, the way the Lakers played, losing to Brooklyn, they might need him back as soon as possible, because it's a very real possibility the Lakers could be sliding down to the 4th or 5th spot. In the meantime, it sucks at the time that this happened. The schedule is not easy with the Bucks twice in a week. The Lakers will actually be playing the Bucks at Crypto on the 20th, so a week from Thursday as well, and they're going to see the Nuggets twice. So tough games ahead. The Lakers got to find a way in this game to get scoring from other places. Gabe Vincent did his part the other night. Austin Reeves, by his own admission, has to be better. He shot 21% in that game against Brooklyn. That cannot happen. He's really struggled since coming back from injury. Luka, it will clear up. JJ Redick talked about it in his post-game press conference. With them blitzing Luka, you think that's a good thing for the Lakers, because then it's 4-on-3 or 3-on-2 the other way. The Lakers are going to be playing, or 4-on-3, for the Lakers, and they're going to be able to kind of get easy layups off that. Well, the Lakers weren't doing that. They were just having trouble getting the basket. And again, the lack of a lob threat, I think, is kind of looming large here. But the Lakers got to get scoring from other places. It's nice that Dorian Finney-Smith is back, but going to be a tall task in Milwaukee. But hey, we'll see. Hopefully the Lakers can get it done and get a tough, gritty road win. Would like to at least get either Milwaukee or Denver, preferably Denver because of the tiebreakers. But just got to kind of tread water until LeBron gets back. You can't get too far down in the standings, and then you're looking there and going, all that work we did in the last 2 months is kind of wiped away, and the Lakers are battling for position at the end. So hopefully the Lakers bring it tomorrow. Alan will get you guys on the morning show as well as the post-game show at night. So excited for all that. Alan killing it as usual, and appreciate everybody for tuning in, and go Lakers.